Now, I'm not sure what's going on today. I don't know if you all forgot to take your ADD medicine or what, but we need to cool it. Alright, we need to cool it. We're excited, we're going to have lunch, it's almost Thanksgiving, you're excited. We need to focus now. So here we are, girls. We're on page 296, problem number 20. Okay? Now, you already know how to do this problem, believe it or not. You already know how. Problem number 20 says use this table of values. And the table of values for problem number 20, which stipulates function g, problem number 20 says g of x. You're using the table of values where the x's are -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. They're right there in the book. And then we're doing the g of x column, because problem number 20 says use the g column. So the numbers are -9.0625, -725, 5.8, 4.64, and 3.7123. Okay. This is your given. Now the directions say, all right, using these points. Does everybody recognize these are really ordered pairs? You could write them this way as ordered pairs. Using those 5 points, write the equation of the exponential function. Now we did this the other day, only we didn't have so many points and they weren't ugly like this, they were nicer points. But if you're going to write the equation of an exponential function, what does that look like? What's the form of it?
ABX.
Exactly. Y equals A times B to the X. Now think back. When we did these the other day, you only had 2 points. But which one did Mrs. Ford tell you to start with all the time?
The one with the 0.
The one with the 0. So do I have a point with a 0 in my list? They gave me this whole list of points. Do I have one with a 0?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to start with that point. X is 0 and Y is -5.8. So I'm going to put that in. -5.8 equals A times B to the zeros. Remember doing this the other day? It's exactly the same thing, except there's more points and they're weirder numbers. All right, now what happens here? What's B to the zeros? 1. So that's like just gone. So does -5.8 equal A? And remember, we call that the initial value. So now our equation is -5.8 or -5.8 B to the X, because we know A is -5.8. We figured that out. Now, do you remember what we did next the other day? We plugged in the other point. Now that was easy because you only had 2, right? So you used the one with the 0 first, and then you used the other one. Well, I got a whole bunch of points. So think about it for a minute. You need to pick another one to use. Which one do you think might be a nice one to use? The one with a 1. That's going to be the easiest one to use. Now, are you going to get the right answer if you use any of them? Yep, you can use any one you want. But this is the easiest, because if X is 1, that means you're going to have a 1 right here. And that's going to make it a whole lot easier to solve the problem, because that's what it's going to say. If you use the point with a 1, if you have a choice, like we do, and you use the point with a 1, then isn't that easy? What's B to the first? Isn't it just B? So to get B, aren't you just going to divide?
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything tricky or fancy. Just get your calculator out and divide. So B turns out to be 4.64 divided by 5.8. 0.8? And then remember remember to write our answer down. So what will our answer be? That's it. That's it. Now, are we going to multiply these two numbers together?
Nope.
No.
Never, ever, 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 ever. Oh, okay, well that wasn't so bad. All right, what's next? Oh, number 22 on the same page. Uh-oh, look at number 22, you guys. What's different about it, number 22? They drew the picture. But in drawing the picture, what information did they give us? 2 points, right? They gave us 2 points. This is exactly the same problem. You're going to write the equation of the exponential. And it's just like the ones we did the other day. You have how many points? 2. But that's all you need. In this problem, we had 5. We didn't need 5. We need 2. Where do I start here? With this given information, where do I start? The one that has a 0. So 3 equals A times B to the 0th. What's B to the 0th? 1. So 3 equals A. So Y equals 3B to the X. Right? Now what? Plug in this crazy point. Oh my, this is going to be hard. Pay attention. 1.49 equals 3B to the 4th.
Yeah. 3 and B are together. Is that like the same thing as putting a parenthesis around B?
Yep. Yep. You can do that if you want.
I have to know because the exponent.
The exponent only goes with the B.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. This is hard. What do we do? Divide. So first thing we're going to do is divide by 3. Oh gosh. 0.4967. Now what? What do I do here? Take the 4th root. Very good. We're going to take the 4th root of both sides. Now, before you get confused, I'm going to take the 4th root of both sides. Before you get confused, stop and think. If you had an equation like b squared equals 17, if I told you to solve that, wouldn't you square root both sides? Because these cancel and you have just b, right? Well, since it's a 4th, I need a 4th root, so those will cancel. And I'll have b equal to whatever the 4th root of 0.4967 is. How am I going to figure that out? I have a square root button on my calculator, but I don't think I have a 4th root button. Do I, Emily?
Could you like use the caret and do 1/4?
Oh, yes, you would. Remember the conversation we had about 4th roots and exponents? This is the same as 0.4967 raised to the 1/4 power. What does the 1/4 power mean? 4th root. So we're going to do what she said. You have your decimal. So use your caret button. That's the, this little guy. Caret button. And then 1/4 in parentheses. When you raise that to the 1/4 power, you're going to want to have that in parentheses. Did you get about 0.84? You round it off. So B is about 0.84. So what will our answer be? Remember, you gotta remember to write down an answer. What will your answer be? Y equals
3 times 0.84.
3 times 0.84 to the x. Okay, well, that's a little crazy. Wow. All right, now we're gonna do just a couple more and then we're gonna get back out our exponent sheet. We'll go to lunch or something. All right, number 2, part 2. Write an exponential function to describe this situation. Initial value of 4, increasing 11% per day. So you're going to write something that looks like this, okay? You can do this. It says the initial value is 4. Where does that go?
Outside the parentheses.
That's A, right? So I'm going to put 4 in here, okay? Now, what am I going to put in for B?
1.9.
Oh, perfect. 1.11. Why did she say 1.11? Because it's increasing 11%, which means it's 0.11 more than 1. So 1.11 to the x, period. You're done. That's all there is to it. How about B? What's B going to look like? 0.36, 1.22 to the x. That's it. Yes, Maddie?
Per day or per week?
Well, it does in context of the problem. So the next step, which we're not doing, but they're coming up here in the next section, the next step would be to say, okay, I've got $4 in my bank account, and it's increasing 11% per day. So how much money will I have in 6 days? So then I would just take this to the 6th power. So however you set your problem up, in this problem, x is in days. In this problem, x is also in days, but in the next one, it's going to be in weeks and so on. So it matters in the next step of the problem. Great question. All right, what about C? 147.9. Good. Why is it 0.9?
Decreasing.
Because decreasing 10% means 10% less than 1. So that makes 0.9 to the x. How about D? 20.8 times, no negatives. How much, we're going to be 4.5 less than 1. So if we're 4.5% less than 1, what are we? 0.955. We want the decimal. So yes, 0.955. Very good, Marley. How did Marley get that number? Does everybody see? Okay, she took 1 minus 0.045. Because the number that goes in the parentheses is the percentage more than 1 or the percentage less than 1. So if you're 4% less than 1, you're 96%. If you're 4.5%, you're 95.5%. And how about the last one? 16 thirds. 0.58 to the x. And where did the 0.58 come from? 1 minus 0.42. Remember, whatever is in the parentheses here is either 1 plus the increase or 1 minus the decrease. That's what goes in the parentheses always. So if it's an 11% increase, it's 1 plus 0.11. If it's an 11% decrease, it's 1 minus 0.11. Okay? Now we're getting to the heart of the problem, number 3. The population of Calcville was 123,000 in 2000. It decreases 2.5% each year. What is its population in 2010? All right, so step one, write the equation we're going to use. Don't try to answer the question, just write the equation. Y equals what? What's our initial population? 123,000, right? Now we are decreasing 2.5%.
So,
0.975. Now listen, some of you cannot do this in your head. Plain and simple. So you've got a calculator, you get it out, and you type 1 minus 0.025. Now why is it 1 minus 0.025?
so you always put 0.
We are decreasing 2.5%. Yes, 2%, 0.02. You know that. So there's the equation. Now, answer the question. How am I going to know the population in 2010? Put the 10 in for X. And why do I put 10 in for X? Because I started in 2000 and now it's 2010. So how many years have passed? 10. So I'm putting in 10 for my X. So I'll take 123,000, multiply it by 0.975 to the 10. So here we go on our calculators. And I have about 158,438 people. Now, I rounded that off, didn't I? Why did I round that off? Why didn't I go ahead and say point da 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 da? Because it's people, right? So I rounded it off to the nearest whole person. Did everybody who typed that in get that answer?
We're at 95.
Oh, maybe I made a mistake.
Yes.
Oh, I did make a mistake. Just a second. For some reason, I hit divided by instead of times.
Don't blame her.
Oh, you can blame me. It's all right. I make mistakes too. Yeah, you're right. That doesn't even make sense. I'm a dork. 95,489 people. Does that sound better?
Yes.
Yeah, for some reason I hit divided by instead of times. Thank you for pointing that out. 95,000? Yeah, it's supposed to go down. Population's going down. Better? Let's try another one, see if I can get this one right. Population was this in this year. It increases 12%. What is its population in 2013? Okay. So what's the equation? What are we going to start with? What equation are we going to start with? What's our initial value? 9876. So we're starting with 9876. Now we're going to multiply that by something. 1.12. Does everybody understand why it's 1.12? It's 1 plus a 12% increase. Okay, so that's the formula we're going to use. Now, what are we going to put in for X? Be careful, not 10 this time, 8, because we're going from 2005 to 2013. So we're going to put 8 in there. And let's see if I can get it right this time. Don't tell me the answer. Let's see if I can get it. I got 24,453 people. Did I get it right? Is that okay? All right, now listen. I'm gonna give you a problem to do. You're gonna bring it up and show me, and then you can go to lunch. When you come back from lunch, we're going to have a quizzy poo, and it's going to be one like this, where you have to write your equation and answer the question. Now, while you're at lunch, if you don't have a calculator, you might find a friend who will loan you a calculator, because otherwise you're going to have to get one from me, because you need a calculator on this question, right? You can't do this without a calculator. So if you didn't bring one today, find someone at lunch that will let you use one so you can have a calculator on the quiz. Okay? So here's your quiz question. You can put it right on your note sheets. If you've got room on there, you can put it right on there and bring it up to me. Here's the question.
Right now?
No, we're doing the practice problem now, and you're doing the quiz when you come back. You know what? If you forget it during a 30-minute lunch, life is over.
Where are we writing it at? Somewhere over there.
Anywhere you want. You can write it anywhere you want. If you have room on your note sheet, you can just write it right there. Here's the question. The value of my pre-cal book in 1990 was $143. It increases in value, of course it increases, 8% per year. How much is it worth now?
In 2016.
Yes, you can help each other, you can work on your own, I don't care. Chris, can you put that on?